Hey everybody, BigBlackHatMan here, and as you know, I promised to take on the AFI's Top 10 Westerns list, and why not start today? Now, as I went through the list, I realized, well, in my opinion, it has some flaws. It sucks! No, it doesn't suck, it's just that some of the movies maybe don't belong or they're misplaced. So, we get it, I don't like the list. Yeah, okay. Regardless of how I feel, I'm going to take on the list, go through it one by one, and tell you whether each film belongs in the spot or not, in my humble opinion. So, let us begin with number 10, Cat Ballou in AFI versus BigBlackHatMan.
Well, now, friends, just lend an ear, for you're now about to hear the ballad of Cat Ballou. It's a song that's newly made, and Professor Sam the Shade and the Sunrise Kid are singing it for you. Cat Ballou, Cat Ballou. It's a hanging day in Wolf City, Wyoming. Wolf City, Wyoming, 1894. They're gonna drop Cat Ballou through the gallows.
So first off, what is the plot of Cat Ballou? Well, simply put, it's about Cat Ballou. Actually, she's not really Cat at the end of the movie, but details. At any rate, the movie takes place in 1894 Wyoming, when Cat Ballou returns from getting her education, only to find that her father's ranch is being threatened by a big business concern, which is the railroad. Or wait, it's actually a slaughterhouse. At first they say a railroad, but it ends up being a slaughterhouse, and it's an Englishman, but don't worry about it, that doesn't really matter. And he's hired a gunman. Yes, a gunman in all black with a silver nose, played by Lee Marvin, to threaten them off the land, because it makes sense. Don't worry about it. And then she gets two outlaws to help him out, two outlaws she met on a train, and one of them's a sex maniac. And it's supposed to be funny, but honestly, he's a sex maniac. It's only sort of funny. And that's not enough, though, because it turns out those two guys are wimps. So they also hire Lee Marvin. Lee Marvin, who plays the villain, also plays the good guys. He plays two different parts. He plays Kid Shalene, who's the gunfighter who helps the good guys, Cat Ballou. And then her father gets shot, which isn't really a spoiler. It happens halfway through the movie, but it's in most of the description, so trust me on this. And they decide to go get some revenge by robbing a train and stealing money, and so they're actually the bad guys, sort of. It's not really explained very well. At one point, they end up in the hole in the wall where they meet old Butch Cassidy, which doesn't make sense because Butch Cassidy was only 28 in 1894, which they clearly established the year. So it's one of a lot of little plot threads and holes they have. Oh, and there's two singers.
Yeah, Stubby K and
Nat King Cole are singers who tell you all about the plot, even though you're watching the movie and you know exactly what's going on. They're supposed to be fun. They are fun. The songs are fun, but don't think about that part too much. That's the plot synopsis. I'm not giving away the end, even though the movie actually gives away the end in the very beginning, pretty much. Yeah. Way to go, movie. So first off, why is this Western considered a classic Western? Well, in all honesty, it's often considered the first official Western spoof. Because I guess we're ignoring the spoofs that came out before it. 1939 Destiny Rides Again, 1948 Bob Hope film Paleface, plus its sequel, Son of Paleface. Oh, and John Wayne lampooned himself in 1961 with McClintock, so I guess we get to ignore all those movies to make this the first official spoof. Yeah, I'm not sure what makes it official, because there were spoofs before this. In fact, you go back to the silent era, and it was kind of a common thing to make fun of Westerns. Well, not make fun of, but lampoon and enjoy. So I guess, well, maybe that's not it. Maybe it's because this is the first time we had a strong female as a protagonist of a major Western. I got one Johnny Guitar that'll disagree with that. Alright, that film did come out about a decade earlier. Well, you know what? Lee Marvin won an Academy Award for this film. Yes, he won an Academy Award. He won an Oscar for a Western. That almost never happened back then. Except it did happen a decade earlier when Gary Cooper won one for High Noon, so, yeah, I got beat to the punch on that one, too. I guess it's a classic because Nat King Cole and Stubby K sing? Reaching now. People remember it fondly, so it's a classic. I guess? So my own personal thoughts on this film are that, well, it's a pretty decent film. Okay, maybe that's overstating a little bit. I mean, some of the comedy, like the sex maniac thing, doesn't really work in a modern sense. Maybe it was funny in 1965 when the film came out, but now it's kind of hit and miss. So, yeah, the comedy's not always great, and this is, after all, comedy, so I would have to say it's an average film. Really? Average? You're going to go to average after you said it was pretty good? Okay. Alright, let's be honest. It's just not that good a movie. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I might recommend it to people who like those 60s style madcap comedies and, people who really dig westerns. But other than that, it's hard to see that this would have a major audience in today's viewing world, so it's not that good a movie. It's just okay at best. I'll take it. One of this film's most major failings outside of the hit-and-miss comedy is its plot. Its plot never really comes together. Like I said in the plot synopsis, they don't actually really establish why the villains want the ranch. They just say they want it, which is a pretty common story for those days, but they usually gave the bad guys motivation, and they don't really have it here. I guess they need to build their slaughterhouse there, but why there? Why not someplace else? And why not just buy the land? Offer a huge amount of money for it and make it happen. But they don't ever really say why. There's also a minor plot with the Hole in the Wall gang and Butch Cassidy, and they're all old and worn out, which, as I said before, doesn't make any sense because Butch Cassidy was only 28 the year this movie took place. But they bring up at one point that the bad guys will now come after them because Cat Ballou is causing so much trouble, and they weren't worth getting before. By the way, this is never resolved. It's brought up and never resolved. Also, the townspeople are upset at Cat Ballou because she's stolen the money that was going to be the lifeblood for their community. And that's never really resolved either. It's just sort of out there, and they mention it, but it's never mentioned again. In fact, it's not mentioned until almost the end of the film. And so that's the problem with this movie, is that the plot tangles and untangles, but never really comes together all that well. So unless you're really, really enjoying the comedy, this film's kind of hard to watch. So did this film deserve to be number 10 on the list? Hell no! Hell no! Probably not. In fairness, number 10 on the list is a tough spot. Because number 10 makes you think of all the films that got excluded from this list. And let me tell you what, the AFI's Top 10 Western list has some pretty heavy exclusions. Let's go back and look at some of those. Let's say William S. Hart's on this list. Tom Mix isn't on this list. None of the great silent cowboys are, for that matter. None of the B cowboys are on this list, for that matter. Two other actors who were great actors in westerns are not on this list are Henry Fonda and Jimmy Stewart. That's right, for all the great westerns both those guys did, neither one appears on this list. And there's one movie. There's one movie that's not on this list that it kind of irks me personally. The Magnificent Seven does not appear on this list. I'm just going to give that away now. The Magnificent Seven is nowhere on this list. No Yul Brynner? That's right, there's no Yul Brynner on this list either. The Magnificent Seven's a huge western. It's hard to describe what a big, seminal event it was. It came at the end of the post-World War II, real golden era of westerns. From the end of that World War II up until about 1960 when The Magnificent Seven came out, westerns were some of the top films around. And this was sort of a culmination. Magnificent Seven pointed out the futility of a lot of the violence of westerns and really shaped it out really well. And the AFI ignored that, ignored the great performances in it. It's not on the list, and that boggles my mind because it's one of the great westerns of all time. It really has a seminal place in the history of westerns on top of being a great movie. And quite frankly, Cat Ballou is just a funny movie at best. And if you want to go with western spoofs, I think there's one everybody knows a lot better that's a lot funnier. That's a movie everybody knows. I'm betting most people watching this video couldn't even say they even heard of Cat Ballou, let alone seen it. I'm pretty exceptional in the fact that I watch a lot of westerns, so yes, I've seen the film. And I didn't really like it. Fair enough. So no, it didn't deserve its spot at number 10 on the AFI's Top 10 Westerns list, in my opinion. Well, I guess that's all from here in the first one of these videos. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy trails. Number 9's coming up, and watch out for those rough patches.
Well, now, friends, just lend an ear, for you're now about to hear the ballad of Cat Ballou. It's a song that's newly made, and Professor Sam the Shade and the Sunrise Kid are singing it for you. Cat Ballou, Cat Ballou.
Hey guys, let me know if you liked this video. If you liked it, I'll keep going with this list. I might keep going with this list regardless whether you liked it or not, because I just kind of want to... There's a lot more to talk about on the list, and I don't have any flubs today because all my flubs were just minor, like, you know, I didn't really say anything funny today. I don't have anything funny. Hold on. I'll show you something cool then. Just got it in the mail. The real Jonah Hex. Goodbye.